Hey, welcome back. It's Mickey Mikeworth, and we are going over prosperity concepts today. And today I'm going to talk about surprise grief. And surprise grief is just what it sounds like. Surprise! Suddenly I'm sad. So when you're thinking about the things that you're doing as you're moving forward in your prosperity mindset, 100% of the time, not 50, not 20, 100% of the time, as people move forward, what they stumble across is not an external obstacle, it's an internal one. And it's an internal one where they realize that they're still having some distress or some heartbreak or something that feels very just perplexing and they can't quite grab at it. If it feels that it's perplexing, it is just a reminder where you hear me say, oh, heartbreak, it happens on every level. And sometimes we have minor heartbreaks, sometimes we have massive heartbreaks, but sometimes they're perplexing because we can have our heart broken on many different levels. So sometimes grief is distress. Sometimes it is that we are suffering over something. Sometimes we are actually pining for something, that there is something that we wish we had. And so that brings us unease or it makes us feel separated in some way. So when you're thinking about grief, I need you to expand how you're thinking about grief because as you move forward, you will have the past reveal itself to you. So you want to settle the score. You want to take a minute in mindful isolation to ask yourself different questions, but to be with your grief and process it. Grief is eligible to have relief. And the opposite of grief, right? What's the opposite side? What's the other side of that? What we are looking for. What are we looking for? We're looking for peace. We're looking to settle something. You're looking for peace. You're looking for a way to posture or push or move something to a more advantageous place. So when we are starting to move forward and you're moving forward on something and suddenly you don't understand why you're feeling melancholy or that you are reaching back towards something and you have to really honor the time that is needed to fully process energy. Life is energy. The past is energy. Sometimes I didn't have time to process grief at the time, so I stuff it. You might do the same, but it's pretty common that you stuff that information, you stuff it away somewhere for later. Well, the body is holding it and it doesn't need to. You can just go through and start to lovingly, thoughtfully, gently, yet forcefully look within. And when we are looking within, a lot of times as you move forward and stay present in your life, what will happen is something from the back, something from back there will kind of start knocking. They'll start tapping at your door. Hey, you, are you ready to process me now? And that's the beauty of emotions is they will resurface when they see that there's a time that you are healthy and safe, but they are asking for you to move forward. They're not asking you to relive tragedy. So when you're thinking about grief, you want to think about it as part of your prosperity process. That there will be times that grief will come forward and ask for a wound to be healed. Sometimes that's wounded feelings, sometimes that's wounded ego, sometimes that is wounded loss. Could be anything. Grief is right? It's a perplexing heartbreak, and we can have our heart broken on many different levels. And we all do. And we all do. We all have that. But where are you going with grief? Always. The other side that we're getting to is peace. So sometimes it's really just giving yourself a little time, a little kindness, a little wisdom, and just go, wow, I'm feeling some sadness. Let me do some mindful isolation. Let me get into that topic and let me figure out how I can get to peace on this. And that's where you're going to. All of grief is looking for peace. And peace only comes from within. Peace does not come from out there. So there's not an outside solution that is available. And that's the first recognition, I think, that most people get in prosperity mindset is when they understand that all of the peace that they're looking for isn't by anyone else. It is always within you. It is always that you have to sort out what's in your head and in your dreams and in your thoughts and in your wisdom, right? How are you shaping it for you? Because peace can only start with you. And that is what we're trying to get to when grief starts popping up. We're looking to have feelings and passion and kind of work on these things that may have felt like a bummer. It may have felt like this blue haze over your life. And it could also feel like disgust or a curse or something else that makes you feel unhappy. But grief in and of itself is distress, that there is something that is still suffering in some way. So when you start to kind of get through that perplexingness, mindful isolation, staying present, and really looking at what is the process to peace. And sometimes the process to peace is just saying that it's 20 years. I'm kind of done giving it thought. Or sometimes peace is making an apology. Sometimes it's accepting an apology. Sometimes it is giving yourself an apology. Sometimes it is just learning that that was then, this is now. Sometimes we gain peace in grief by saying, that was then. I was a different person. I make different choices now. It's settling it. It's settling it. And settling often gives us peace. So as you're moving forward into the light, bright, wonderful you, as you are magnifying out all of this wonderful parts of you, know that there's some house cleaning. And that house cleaning a lot of times looks like grief. So I thank you so much for doing the house cleaning and doing the heavy and the light lifting. And again, the more often you take time to just process it right now, just process it right now, the more that you can honor that you're going to give time to what is ever is needed to process that energy from one side of distress to the other side, which is peace, honoring the amount of time that takes, the more often you do that, the faster it will go, or the faster it will unwind, or the faster the pieces will unravel. So it's worth doing it over and over again. So pay attention to your grief. This, for many people, is a daily process that they take on for a period of time and just say, I'm going to do some grief work now. It's really common for people to work on 12 weeks of grief and look at all of the parts of the grief and then process them towards peace. Process them towards peace. So that's it. Grief is not a bad thing because it is the gateway to peace. And as you are gaining new things, you want to be free of the burdens of the past so that you can stay present and then really work towards your own future without carrying all that garbage from the back. All right. Well, I am glad to see you. And thank you for taking it seriously. Thank you for loving yourself. And I'm glad for you because I can see it's getting better and you're getting better. And that feels lovely. So have a great day. I'll see you in class. Bye.